It's LWJ Jockey, and it's Chocobo Stallion. I have changed the background music, as you can tell. How's it going? It is more like nature sounds, and I did that because, oh, don't get me wrong, the music is great, but when you listen to it for a long time, it's not so great. So I find this is pretty cool. And what you'll notice with it is birds chirping, and you'll hear running. And that running is actually Chocobo running around. So, yeah, and as you can see, speaking of Chocobo and kind of running around, I got quite a lot of Chocobo hanging out in my, in my ranch. Yeah, quite a lot. And we're going to talk about that in a bit. But before that, I'm going to switch over to this Chocobo. This is my broodmare. And I want to show you something. And I cannot believe this. I'm shaking my head before I talk about the training. Well, the starting of training. So, yeah, here it is. Here is, I think it's Topaz Turbo, right? Pretty cool name. Milkmake is the sire. Well, you know, there's this little button on the Sony controller called Select. And when I push it, look what happens. Oh, wow. I get the data screen. I don't know if I ever mentioned this. I was under the impression that you didn't know the data of the mare or the broodmare. And, boy, was I wrong. I was 100% wrong. That was a really well, I'm not going to say dumb, but I'm going to say not very intelligent. How's that? You know, let's be a little more politically correct. So, yeah, by hitting the select button, you can actually see the data of your broodmare. So, there you have it. And this is actually very important because I haven't done any of the major breeding video, and I should do that. But using this data, you can get rid of all those reds at the bottom there in the second, you know, right there at the bottom where it's red, gray, and blue. And you can turn them into grays and then turn them into blues, which is part of the breeding process here in the game. So, yeah, I thought I'd mention that. So I'm not going to get into details. I did sort of talk about the data screen on the stud side because it's clear as day on the stud side. But with the mare, I can't even talk today. They seem to go with the coupling data as the main screen. So you just hit that select button. Yeah, there you go. Well, you know how it is. I'm getting older, and I'm forgetting things. You know, I do realize the controller has a select button, and I should use it. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, like the title was, the training begins. As you can see here, there's a whole bunch of Chocobo. Some of them are known as like Wild One, Wild something, and some of them have names. You got it. Well, let's talk about that first. So, January of this year, because at the moment it is March of this year, and January of this year we had Shiroma, and Shiroma decided to do 3 things, and I'll put up a little screen about that. When the Chocobo are 3 years old, Shiroma asks if you want to register your Chocobo for racing, right? And as you can see in the picture that I'm providing, this was the screenshot of when that happened. And at that moment, you also have to change the Chocobo's name. Now, you don't have to if you've named the Chocobo, if it was a bred Chocobo in your, in your ranch. If you created the Chocobo with the sire and a dam, the offspring. You can keep the name that you gave it at the beginning, which I did with Aka. I just kept it at Aka. But as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7, and you have to change their name. They won't let you keep those names. And you can't use numbers, and you have to use katakana, right? And stuff like this. You can't use English, which is, makes it a little more difficult. But my advice is you can do what I did, and I'll show you in this little chart that I created. You can use simple names, and I did that. I have a whole list of just 3 katakana letter, or I guess it'd be letters considered, or sounds. I'm not sure what they're considered. I know they're not sounds. They're not are they characters? Anyway, I'm just going to call them letters for lack of ignorance on that, and or not lack of ignorance, for ignorance because not knowing. So we got salad, we got aka, we got ham, we got cake, we got soup, and we got note. Also with this little spreadsheet. Now, I'm not going to do this all the time. I'm just doing this for the video. I took Shiroma's messages, and I labeled them A to G, you saw in the last video. And then I also put a scale of 1 to 3, 1 being the best, or 1 to 4. What am I? Today I'm really having it. It's hot in here. It's like, what is it, like 32 degrees in my place right now. I do have fans going, so if you hear any noise, that's the fans. Even my PS1 has a fan right now. I want to do a video on that, like a retro video. I hope to do that in the future about how to keep your retro gear cool, I guess. All right, so yeah, okay, continuing on. So it's 1 to 4, 4 being completely awful and 1 being the best. And I kind of put red for 4, obviously being awful, and I put 2 for blue, but I'm not sure if it is a blue, but it's better than a 3. You know, much better than a 4, but not as good as a 1, right? Blah. So there you go. So you got all that information there with Shiroma's messages. And we're going to talk about that before I talk about the training, because this is the point where you need to figure out the best training situation for your Chocobo. Now, remember when I said in the last episode, I mentioned that Shiroma's messages mirror the bottom pedigree effects or the bloodline effects in the data for either the sire or the mare, right? Now that I know, I thought it was just sire, but also mare. So there you go. And Shiroma's messages, the first 7 of them, yeah, I'm just counting them. First 7 of them are what she talks about. And the last 2, one temperament and growth rate, she doesn't talk about. And so I thought to myself, well, you know what? I've got information on what those pedigree effects mean. And I also have the information on what Shiroma says what they mean. So do they match up? So taking that Japanese information, I went to AI, and AI and I, well, mostly AI, came to the conclusion, yes, they're the same meaning. Different wording, but it's the same meaning. And I put it up here, as you can see, minus the extra stats and the bloodline effect, which they don't talk about, which I believe is temperament and growth, right? So there you have it. So now I'm thinking to myself, all right, great, excellent. It is standardized, but not in the English way to standardize this, because I'm getting confused. So again, using the attribute information that I got from this AI and talking to AI, comparing information from the player's guide and from the internet and all that stuff, I recreated Shiroma's message list, and you can see it here in this image. This is an update from the last video. So if you have the last one, you can scrap it. This is probably a better update. It has a better idea. But as you can see here, it's A to G, and I have changed the names of it. I'm not going to go into details on this because of something else that I did. So I got all these names, and I'm like, yeah, great, wonderful, but it's a dog's breakfast. They're all over the map. How do I figure this out for the training? How do I figure out what these attributes do and where they do them? I need a visual. I need something that organizes this, that helps me look at how these attributes work for a Chocobo. So basically, in a nutshell, I thought of it as a race. A race has a start, has a middle, and has an end. And I thought, let's organize them that way. So again, with AI, and mostly AI, and me going, I agree, I came up with this list. And this is the list of a basic race and how those attributes would work in that race. Now, maybe 1 or 2 of them could be used throughout the whole race, but I put it in basically where they fit. So let's take a look at it this way. And my thinking is, I mean, it's up to you. You do you. If you want to use this, go ahead. But I think this is pretty good to determine your Chocobo's abilities using what Shiroma says. So at the start, at the gate, you have F, which is the agility at gate. Now, it's good burst from the gate, strong acceleration at start. That's good for short and medium, and probably even long. But I'd say more for short and medium style Chocobo, the ones who like short races or medium races, right? Then the middle, which is the back stretch. Right. Now, this back stretch, that's where I threw in the long distance stamina, because the majority of the race will be, if it's a long-distance race, is going to be probably a lot of that backstretch, a lot of that middle, right? Because the start gate's only a small part, and the final stretch is only another part. So I threw it in there. So that is more for endurance and stamina for long races. Right, so if you have a Chocobo that's blue with that, then yeah, You stick them in long races. And especially some of those G1s that get like to 3,000 meter and stuff, right? So, again, I haven't looked at the schedule for Chocobo, but there is a comparison between Japanese horse racing races and Chocobo. But I haven't, and that'll be further down after all the training. That'll probably be close to the last part that I do about this. And then we have the final stretch. Oh, no, sorry, I forgot A, early speed lead ability. I forgot about that. This one confused me because it said early speed lead. I'm like, early speed, because the Chinese for it is xian xing li, which means xian means first. I thought, well, wait a minute, no, we got the agility at the gate. The gate's the first. No, what this is the maximum speed during the middle of the race. So think of it as the speed that goes between the start gate and the final stretch, just like the long distance stamina. Same thing. So yeah. Now, and here's the funny thing about this one. I've been looking at the training actual design, grid, whatever you want to call it, spreadsheet, and that isn't in it. I don't know why, but there isn't anything that benefits or improves that. I'll have to double check to see, but I'm not sure why it is one of Shiroma's messages, but you cannot improve on that. But to be honest with you, I really don't know what benefit that would be, except staying maybe for a short medium, because you want to stay ahead, right? You want to keep that momentum going. You want to get the best speed you can. That might be good for, say, an escape or a front runner, I'm thinking. But I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to look into that. But it fits in the middle. It fits in the backstretch. And by the way, backstretch is the opposite of the home stretch, the opposite of the final stretch. So if you're looking at a whole racetrack, you look at the other side of where the post is, and that's your backstretch, if you know, for simple terms. Okay, final stretch. G, C, D, and E. G, the acceleration, the late speed, the ability to build up speed during the chase, the final stretch, and the last corner. So when it's coming around that fourth corner, right? That's where this is going to start kicking in. That acceleration, can it do that? That is the late speed, right? So you've got the agility at gate speed, you've got the early speed, and you've got the late speed, right? So there it is. So it's coming around that fourth corner all the way to that finish line, right? That ability to build up speed. That's important. Next, you've got burst speed. Now, burst speed is the maximum speed during the chase, the final stretch. Let's talk about burst speed. Burst speed is very important. And let me show you another kind of slide here. This is from Derby Jockey. This is a game that I'm currently playing as a Let's Play for a jockey style game. And as you can see, burst speed is very important in that game as well, it is the maximum speed of the chase, the final stretch. So it's the point when you hit the whip. When you whip the horse, that is the burst you're going to get from that, in this game anyways. In Chocobo Stallion, you're kind of, left to your own merits, in the sense of, not your merits, the Chocobo. You can give it some instructions, but it's up to the Chocobo, right? In Derby Jockey, you can control it, because it's a jockey game. But yeah, as you can see here, yes, and it's a single circle, which means it's not bad for those 4 that I selected, as an example. But that is important. That burst speed is probably the most important part in I think, Chocobo, and also in Derby Jockey. So getting back to that burst speed, that is the max speed during the chase final stretch. You want to go as fast as you can in that burst. Right. But what goes hand in hand with that is the sustained speed. That is maintaining good speed to chase the final stretch. Right. You got to be careful of burnout. And I've noticed that. If you watch my series on Derby Jockey, you'll see that. If I start the whip too soon, it'll burn out. Sometimes it's okay because it's got a far enough lead that it can still win. But sometimes that's it, and the game's over, and I lose, or I come in second or third, or whatever the case is, right? So you got to watch out. So the better sustained speed means the more you can keep of the burst. Okay, that's what that means in the final stretch. And you got to watch out for burnout. Again, you can't really control that too much with the Chocobo game, but if you do a jockey game, this seems to be one of the main things to keep an eye out for. And the final one is determination of guts or grit, the competitive spirit and resilience in close duels. This could be right even at the beginning, could actually qualify in all of the states, because there might be some cases where there are 2 Chocobo going neck and neck. even if it's a short distance race. But I threw it in the final stretch because that is where it's most important. Having that in the final stretch because it's going to get that determination. It wants to run, right? It wants to, it wants to win. And that's a good one to have. So there you go. My thinking is if you want to use this, go ahead, take a screenshot. This might help you with determining what course of action you want to do with your Chocobo. And also helps you sort of visualize the attributes. Right. Minus the 2, of course, of temperament and of growth rate. So moving right along, let's talk about what this actual video is all about. So this video is about the trainers. Yes, selecting a trainer. That is the part 3 of this. When you're selecting a trainer. And there are 4 trainers to choose from. And I'm going to bring it up here now. This is the screen for the trainers. Yeah, looks pretty cool, doesn't it? AI does wonders. So what this is, we got 4 trainers. We got Mog or Moogle. We got Gowan, Golem. We got Red, Bomb. We got Molly, Goblin, right? They're the 4. Now, there, of course, there are images in the game. I took a screenshot of those. Underneath is the translation of what that information is, a rough translation. And underneath that, its little italic thing is that's what AI gave me as well, what it found on the net. And underneath the line, that is the information from the player's guide that I have. So you can pause, you can take a look. I'm not going to read through all of that information, but it's good to have. Now, this information, if you are going to do automatic training, auto training, then this information is very important. If you have decided that you want to do your own training, this information is kind of important if you do switch to auto training once in a while, but it doesn't really matter per se because you're doing your own training. All it is, the trainer's just giving you advice after that, right? So be mindful of that. And some of these trainers, if you do the auto training, and spoiler alert, I am doing auto training. I think I might have mentioned that. I'm a fast forgetter. I am doing auto training. What was I going to say again? Slipped my mind. So I'm looking at these. And Gowan, for example, if you look, the way that Gowan trains, it is very hard on the Chocobo. So be mindful of the health. Red Bomb is very hard on the Chocobo. Be mindful of fatigue. Molly and Mog are kind of middle of the road. I think Molly is more for Chocobo that are really good, and Mog is more for Chocobo that have average stats. And if you look at my little chart, yes, Shiroma's messages, they pretty much have average stats. So you can see it there. A lot of 3s, some 4s, some 2s. So what did I do? Well, I just let Mog do the actual training. So I'm doing that for now. And I'm doing that because I want to see how the training works. I mean, I'm new to this too. I played this a little bit about a year ago, and I didn't know what I was doing then, and I just sort of played around. And I actually did not do bad. My horse, or my Chocobo won. But the point is, this is me trying to figure this out, the best course of action. Best course of action. All right, there's a couple more things I want to show you. And then I want to show you some stuff in the actual ranch that might be of use as well while I'm showing you this. Now, the trainer is going to say a couple of things. Just like when, and here, I can do it as an example here. Let's pick this. I believe this is salad, right? I think that's salad. Yeah, let's pick salad. If I select salad, the trainer says something, right? And the trainer is going to say 2 things. One, it'll give you a message about how far along it's going in the training. And yeah, it's been doing some training. I've had them training for a bit, as you can see. Or 2, it's going to give you a special message. And that special message is almost like Shiroma's messages, but it's only going to do it at the 3rd year, from what I understand. And let me show you what those messages are. Now, I've broken the messages down to trainer special comments. I call it T1 to T8. at age 3. And they correspond with early bloomer, late bloomer, excels at dirt, not suited for dirt tracks, high temperatures, prefers low temperatures. In this game, there are like frozen tracks and lava tracks, right? I mean, in real life, it's not like that with horse racing and in other horse racing games. But in this one, there is, right? Excels on right turn courses and excels on left turn courses. And if you watch my Derby jockey series, you'll notice that Tokyo goes the other way. It goes the opposite way than the other tracks. So some tracks go right, some tracks go left. So there you have it. Right. Now, let me show you an example here. Oh, no, I don't have an example. I was going to show you an example of when it says one of these special messages, but unfortunately I don't have it. I can try to make it here. If I use my R1 and R2, I believe, that will trigger one of these special messages, hopefully. And it takes a while. I will tell you. It's not that easy. You don't get them right away. You have to keep doing it. The messages that I'm currently getting are where it is in the training. And I'll talk about that in a bit. But as you can see, it takes a long time. Like, I am trying to find a message, and it is not giving me the message that I need. I'm not getting the message. There it is. There you go. There it is. So it took a few. So as you can see, salad, it says here, is good. Is it good on dirt? Let's see. No, it is not good on dirt track. That's what that message says. So that is a T. That's T4, right? So there it is. There's one of those generic messages I was talking about. And with some Chocobo, it's easy to get those messages. You generally get one or two. Some Chocobo, don't get any messages. For example, salad. I don't know why with salad. I did it like 20 times and didn't get one message, special message. All I got were messages about how the training's going. So I don't know what's going on with salad. Oh, no, not salad. What am I saying? This is salad. I mean soup. I don't know what it is with soup. I can't get any special message with soup. Isn't that weird? Strange. I don't know. But that's okay. That's fine. Is it necessary? It's helpful, but not that necessary. If you sort of know where it is in the in its messages from Shiroma, you have a pretty good idea. So there you have it. Now, the other messages that you get from your from in the ranch is how far along the training is going. And so what I did is I broke down the training messages from 1 to 16. Now, there should be actual long list. That's what it should be, one big long list. Where, if you notice it's a cyclical one. It repeats. It goes in it goes in a circle, right? 1 being horrible, and 16 also being not so good. But here's the thing. You want your Chocobo, when you want to do the racing, when it's ready for racing, it doesn't mean it is good at that. It's going to be good at that race, but it's at peak performance around the 11 mark. That's where the Chocobo is at 100%. So maybe 10, maybe 11, maybe 12, maybe 9, in and around there. I'm not sure because I haven't gotten that far yet with the training. So, so that's where you want it. So it will do a decline as it goes. And then it'll get better and better and better until it gets to 11. And then when it's at 11, technically you're supposed to sustain that train. Try to keep it at that around there as much as you can. And then you can have it race, right? And that'll work. That'll work for you. Hopefully. That's sort of the plan, at least I think. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. So, but yeah. And like I said, at the moment I'm letting our friend here, Moog, I believe it is, yes, or Moggle. I'm letting him do the training. And I'm going to talk about training in the next episode. But I want to show you something quickly before I finish up. If I can get out of it. It's very, very slow. Now, when you're trying to find your Chocobo, I mean, oh my God, this is a pain. Look at this. Where is it? Some of them are the same color. I can't find it. I gotta, I want to find Akka. Where's Akka? Right? It's a pain. So, here's something that makes it easier for you. If you go to here, which is the office, right? And you want to do this thing here. In Chinese, it's 所有语, which means all the feathers or all the chocobo. The measure word for chocobo in the game are feathers, right? At least I think it is. And as you can see, it'll give you a breakdown. It shows first the chocobo that are still young, like 1 or 2, right? Then it shows the chocobo that are now ready for training for race. And it also shows your chocobo, your male and your female chocobo for breeding. So you can get around that having to do that in the ranch all the time trying to find the chocobo, because that would be very time consuming and such a pain. Now, if you notice here, I'm just going back to this one of the racing feathers, as they call them. You can see there's a red dot beside them. What that means, that red dot, means that they are on auto mode. So they're being automatically trained. So if you do not have that red dot beside that chocobo, then that means that you have to do the training yourself, not your trainer. And it makes it so much easier to select the trainer or select the chocobo this way. Like, for example, you want to go to soup, right? Let's go to soup. And here's soup. And that's one of the generic messages about how the training is. And if I look on the list, that would be roughly around, where is it? That is number 9. So it is number 9 on the list. So it's getting close to being ready for a race, right? So that's pretty good. Now, if I keep switching using the R1, L1, I get that same message. Like I said, with soup, I can't get any special message. And yeah, there you go. All I am is I'm just getting that same message of number 9, where it is on the track, right? It is on the conditions. So yeah, there you have it. And that's about it. Not really else I'm going to talk about, except this is, at this point in the game, this is where you will be doing a lot of ranch management, right? You'll be keeping an eye on the chocobo, the training, the booking of the races. And your trainer will automatically book races as well, it seems. I was reading that in the player's guide because I haven't gotten to that part yet. Anything else to talk about? Not really. That's about it. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to talk about the training again. This will be sort of like part 2 of the training. And this will be your training, how you do the training. And I'll show you the different kinds of training and the advantages and disadvantages that they give. I might even show, at that time, booking a race. I'm not sure. But hopefully I'll have enough knowledge by that time to talk about it. So there you have it. All right. So, yeah, awesome. There you go. That's training part 7, part 1, I guess, of Chocobo Stallion. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, please subscribe. Check out my other videos. That'll be cool, too. Like I said, I got Derby Jockey currently in the list. Also got Barcode Tyson Bardigan. That's not a horse racing game. It's a Japanese game that is kind of like Pokemon. You might like that. And, yeah, again, like, subscribe, and I'll see ya in the next video.